Now on BBC News, for years Israel and Iran have been involved in a hidden war. GR Gol has travelled to Israel on the trail of missing secret documents and investigates evidence suggesting they led to the assassination of an Iranian nuclear scientist.
For decades, two of the Middle East's most implacable foes, Israel and Iran, have been embroiled in a shadow war.
غلطی از اونها سر بزند جمهوری اسلامی تل آویو و حیفا رو با خاک یکسان خواهد کرد.
The biggest flashpoint is Iran's nuclear program. Israel does not believe Iran's assertions that it is a purely peaceful civil one.
We have our intelligence capabilities to go after those who try to threaten us.
The past few years has seen an accelerating pattern of hostile actions by both countries. This shadow war has now taken a dangerous turn. Iran's most prominent nuclear scientist has been assassinated, and there have been explosions in nuclear and missile facilities.
Those behind such activities must have an exquisite understanding of Iran's nuclear enterprise.
Former Iranian officials are worried Mossad, Israel's foreign intelligence agency, has infiltrated Iran's security and intelligence services.
بالاترین فردی که مسئول کنترل جاسوس‌های اسرائیله. خودش جاسوس اسرائیل کار در میاد.
The Iranian authorities won't speak to the BBC, but I have traveled to Israel to investigate Mossad's role in the attacks against Iran's nuclear and missile facilities. Tehran, late January 2018. In the dead of night, a break-in takes place in a storage facility just outside Iran's capital. In less than 7 hours, thieves break through 2 doors and melt the locks of dozens of giant safes, escaping with half a ton of Iran's clandestine nuclear archive. Iranian officials kept quiet. 3 months later, the stolen documents are showcased in Israel.
These files clearly show that Iran planned to design, build, and test nuclear weapons. And here's what we got. 55,000 pages.
The Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu claimed the Mossad agents have stolen the archived Iranian military and nuclear program documents from a warehouse in Tehran and brought it here to Israel. At the time, the Iranian officials called it a bluff, a fairy tale. But now we know it was a true story.
جدی فکر میکنم یه عده نتانیاهو رو دارن سر کار میذارن. نمیدونم. حس میذارم یه عده سر کارش گذاشتن.
But during Iran's presidential election campaign in 2021, former Iranian officials finally confirmed Iran's secret nuclear documents were stolen.
سرقت شده از اسناد به کلی سری هسته‌ای ما. با موفقیت هم کارشون انجام دادن و رفتن.
اسنادی که حالا دروغ و راست اسرائیلی‌ها آمدن و بردن و منتشر کردن و بردن پیش ترامپ.
That's the only place where you find in the core enriched uranium.
A few days after the Israelis showcased the stolen documents, Donald Trump pulled the US out of the Iran nuclear deal. Iran and Israel were allies for a time, but that all ended with Iran's 1979 Islamic Revolution. The country's new leaders branded Israel as an imperialist power in the region and put their support behind the Palestinian group Hamas and Hezbollah in Lebanon, both hostile to Israel. In turn, Israel regards Iran's potential to build nuclear weapons as a threat to its existence. The two countries now view each other as rivals for power and influence in the region, but have held back from open clashes.
I'm almost done.
Over the past few years, both Israeli and Iranian TV series have showcased the intelligence war between the two states. Gando is a series that is aired on Iranian state TV. It highlights Iranian Revolutionary Guard's intelligence superiority. But the reality on the ground tells a different story.
Iran tends to exaggerate its counter-intelligence capacities, which is proven by the fact of what Mossad was able to achieve with the acquisition of the nuclear weapons cache.
I can't travel to Iran, so to explore more about the conflict between Israel and Iran, I went to Tel Aviv, one of the most secular cities in Israel. It is also the command center for Israel's security and intelligence institutions. Israel says for the sake of the existence of the Jewish state, they will use every tool available to them to stop Iran developing nuclear weapons. For the Islamic Republic of Iran, confronting Israel is largely ideological. They say the state of Palestine will be created only when Israel is wiped off the face of the region. The war with Israel also helps the Iranian Shia regime in its quest for regional hegemony in the predominantly Sunni Middle East. So this shadow war is a power play that could have serious ramifications beyond Tehran and Tel Aviv, and it has now stepped up a gear.
Mossad has been so secretive, even many Israelis, they don't know where its headquarters is located in Israel. But we know it is somewhere here in Tel Aviv.
In early 2016, Israeli agents report to Mossad that Iran has moved its clandestine nuclear archive to a warehouse in the suburb of Tehran. At the time, Yossi Cohen was the chief of Mossad.
Once I understood the Iranians are accumulating nuclear secrets, as the head of the Mossad, I made two important decisions. First, I asked my agents to keep their eyes on the archive movements. Second, I asked them to prepare to bring these documents home to me.
Mossad kept watch on the warehouse for 2 years.
Mossad built a copy of a mimic of the whole site, the streets. Even brought dogs to imitate the dogs and to prepare the agents, the operatives.
Israeli investigative journalist Ronen Bergman has looked into Iran-Israel clandestine operations.
Safes, 2.5 meters each, that were manufactured in Tehran. So they bought, under false disguise, they bought 2 empty safes from the same manufacturer in Tehran. They flew them to Europe, they flew them to Israel, to the Mossad site, and started to drill them and find what's the fastest way to open them.
Late January 2018, 10 o'clock at night in Tehran. Yossi Cohen of Mossad orders his agents to start the operation. There were 32 safes, but the agents knew which safes contained the most important documents.
When they broke into these enormous safes and started to get into the depth, the first images of the description in Persian, which we read in real time, we understand we have what we wanted. We are on the Iranian military nuclear plant.
This is one of the documents stolen by Mossad. The document is very clear, has Iranian bureaucratic system and is labeled completely secret. There is two suggestions in this document. One suggests that one part of the activity should be completely secret and hidden, and other should be normal. In other part of the document, there is a suggestion that they should make those secret part of the activities completely mobile, so in this way they might be able to keep it away from spying eyes.
Israel's acquisition of the nuclear weapons cache in Iran is one of the most extraordinary intelligence successes of modern times. And it provided very real and clear evidence that Iran was retaining the capability to acquire a nuclear weapon.
The Iranian leadership always insisted that they never had a plan to produce nuclear weapons.
بمب هسته‌ای طبق حکم اسلام گفتیم تو این راه وارد نمیشیم. ساختنش غلطه چون به کار بردنش حرامه.
But Israelis say they judge Iran based on their actions, not words.
Ayatollah Khamenei have issued a fatwa. We don't want a nuclear bomb. Do you trust him?
No.
Why not?
Because you don't have to reach to such level if you don't want to have it.
If the nuclear bomb is not good for Iran, why Israel have it?
I'm not saying Israel have it. I'm just saying that Iran should not have it.
Over the past 4 decades, Iranian officials have frequently threatened to wipe Israel off the face of the earth.
که اگر غلطی از اونها سر بزند جمهوری اسلامی تل آویو و حیفا رو با خاک یکسان خواهد کرد.
پایان ستمکاری از این صفحه دنیاست. ویران شود شهر تل آویو به زودی. رزمنده از نسل یاران شهیدی.
I do believe that there is an open proxy war in the region in which Iran's proxies are the sole aggressor.
The Israeli army say the Quds Force, the elite Iranian unit, is equipping Lebanese Hezbollah and its proxies in Syria with sophisticated weapons and armed drones. The Israeli cities and villages near the Golan Heights are the prime targets of Iranian-backed militias' rocket and missile attacks.
We are heading up to Golan Heights, a very strategic position between Syria, Lebanon and Israel.
מה שהאיראנים מנסים לעשות בסוריה זה לשכפל את המודל הלבנוני. זה לשכפל את המודל הלבנוני. זה לבנות לעצמם עוד משקולת, להקצאת משאבים, להקצאת קשב.
To understand the role of Mossad agents in Israel's military victories, I visited the former Syrian army headquarters in the Golan Heights. Today, it is the Eli Cohen Museum. Eli Cohen was a Mossad agent who disguised as a Syrian. In the 60s, he penetrated Syrian leadership and became a top advisor to the Syrian defense minister.
כהן ביקר לפני מלחמת ששת הימים, ככל הנראה פה הוא אסף את המידע המודיעיני שהוא העביר למטה כללי, וכאמור ראינו את התוצרים של העניין הזה בכיבוש המוצלח של רמת הגולן, הקשה, ובתוצאה המוצלח של רמת הגולן במלחמת ששת הימים.
Today, former Iranian officials are worried that Mossad has reached officials high up in Iranian security and intelligence agencies.
نفوذ موساد در بخش‌های مختلف کشور به حدی است که جا داره همه مسئولین جمهوری اسلامی نگران باشند برای جان خودشون.
the fact that every mishap, every accident, every burned transformer on the Iranian electrical grid is immediately attributed to Mossad, while most of them, the vast majority, are just mishaps. There's fear, spread intimidation among the ranks of what Mossad sees as its main adversaries.
این موضوع ساده‌ایه که بالاترین فردی که مسئول کنترل جاسوس‌های اسرائیله، مسئول مقابله با توطئه‌های اسرائیل در ایران هست، خودش جاسوس اسرائیل از کار در میاد.
In the past 2 decades, numbers of Iran's most prominent nuclear scientists have been assassinated. There have been multiple sabotages in Iran's nuclear and military facilities.
خرابکاری استفاده از مواد منفجره برای بار اول نیست. در طول حالا من میگم 15 سال گذشته دشمن مدام سعی کرده که این کار رو انجام بده.
نتنز منفجر میشه. 4-5 ماه پیش نتنز من رفتم بازدید. بزرگترین مرکز مونتاژ سانتریفیوژ ایران بود. کلا نابودش کردن.
The stolen Iranian secret nuclear archive highlighted the role of Mohsen Fakhrizadeh. He was the most prominent figure in Iran's nuclear program.
Military intelligence thought that they should not kill Fakhrizadeh because he is not a great bureaucrat. Documents showed differently. He understood not just the physics, not just science, but also how to run such a big project and do that, of course, in hiding.
Mohsen Fakhrizadeh is the only individual to have managed the bureaucracy of a covert weaponization program. He also retained the confidence of Iran's Revolutionary Guard leadership and the supreme leader himself.
This is how Dr. Mohsen Fakhrizadeh, head of Project Ahmad, put it. Remember that name, Fakhrizadeh.
Late November 2020, Mohsen Fakhrizadeh and his wife were driving to his villa on the outskirts of Tehran. His bodyguards' vehicles were escorting him. Suddenly, his convoy came under fire from a heavy machine gun. Then, a pickup truck packed with wood parked on the side of the road exploded.
مردی که نخست وزیر اسرائیل گفته بود اسمش را به خاطر
mastermind of Iran's nuclear program has been assassinated after gunmen opened fire on his car.
Iranian security forces first said there were a number of assailants at the scene. Then they changed their accounts.
مدارای الکترونیکی هم رو درآوردیم، سیستم ماهواره‌ای که برقرار بود درآوردیم، به صورت آنلاین با ماهواره این کار صورت می‌گرفته، آدم تو صحنه نبود.
Conducted in a surgical fashion, often against moving targets in a major city with no civilian casualties. So this is a tremendous capability, a tremendous understanding of the environment.
A former Iranian Revolutionary Guard's intelligence officer told me foreign agents have infiltrated Iran's security forces. He doesn't want to be identified.
سپاه بیشتر توانایی‌هایش رو در کنترل معترضان داخلی صرف میکنه. میدونم سرویس‌های خارجی مدارکی داشتن که نشان از رابطه بعضی از سفیرها یا فرماندهان بالای سپاه با زنان بوده. سرویس‌های جاسوسی میتونن برای به دام انداختن و به کارگیری این افراد از این مدارک استفاده کنن.
Those behind such activities must have an exquisite, dynamic, and current understanding of Iran's nuclear enterprise. That likely suggests a significant intelligence and very successful intelligence effort.
Yossi Cohen was the head of Mossad when Mohsen Fakhrizadeh was assassinated. He says his agents physically were close to Mr. Fakhrizadeh for years.
I can say Mohsen Fakhrizadeh for years was definitely the most disturbing target on the scientific level, and his knowledge of Iran's nuclear military project.
Yossi Cohen says Mossad delivered a warning to Iranian nuclear scientists that if they wanted to see their friends again, they should look for another job.
If a man expresses an ability which endangers Israeli citizens, he must be stopped. He should cease existing.
Yossi Cohen has signaled Israel's responsibility for a series of attacks targeting Iran's nuclear program. But many Israelis are against Mossad officials talking about their operations.
I'm against any publicity. If you want to shoot, shoot, don't talk. The Mossad, its reputation is to do fantastic operations, allegedly, clandestine, without publicity.
Israeli officials avoid talking directly about the assassination of Mohsen Fakhrizadeh.
We have our intelligence capabilities, we have our defensive capabilities, which are the state of the art, the best in the world. I'm sure the Iranians know what are the things that I'm not willing to speak about.
War in the 21st century is not with, massive tank brigades going into the battlefields. This is war. And those Israel and Iran are fighting a fierce battle over hegemony.
If you're an Iranian decision maker, you must wonder, is your government capable of keeping anything truly secret, truly safe?
The former head of Mossad says stealing Iran's secret nuclear documents is a warning to Iranian leadership.
It was also important to send a message to the Iranian leaders that, my friends, first, it is possible to infiltrate your system. Second, we're watching you. And third, the time for hiding and telling lies to the world is over.
Iran and Israel have pushed each other to the limit. Neither side can afford to look weak, but both know they need to carefully calibrate their future actions to avoid triggering an all-out war.